afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Magic with Aaron and Jared from the Racing Dudes team. We're live talking about the Preakness Stakes draw, and boys, just a couple minutes away from the draw for the middle jewel of the Triple Crown, as well as the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes on Friday. Aaron, how are you feeling today, buddy?
Good, man. The rest of the card is also out as far as the overnights go for Preakness Day, which means past performances will come out just a little bit after the draw. That's the best news of all. I can get right to work. Don't have to sit here and wait around. So I feel great, man. I'm excited. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be not so nervous about a draw today and just enjoy it.
Boy, that's right. I forgot about that 2 weeks ago. Well, by this point, the Derby had already been drawn. But going into it, suddenly, the Oaks was drawn. We're starting to feel this, and then they took their break halfway through, and we still had so many big names on the board, and then we end up seeing Epicenter get the last post, gets number 3. But Jared, Epicenter is going to be the big favorite in here. What kind of morning line do you think we're going to get on him?
You know, Secret Oath being in the race is going to help a little bit. Just you got the Oaks winner versus the Derby winner, so she'll take money. A filly in the Preakness will. What do you think? 2-1 or so, you might get 8-5 morning line somewhere in there. I mean, I don't think this horse will be below 8-5, right?
At least I think 100% the horse is below 8-5 at post time.
No morning line.
Well, no. Post time maybe. I'm talking
morning line. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think 8-5, 8-5 morning line. Yep.
Yeah, I mean the horse will be bet, no doubt.
We're expecting a field of 9. The late edition of was Armagnac or Fenwick. One of them showed up. Fenwick showed up at the very last second, even though Unoho is not going to make it. Still has a foot injury. But field of 9 compared to 20 for the Derby. And I got an interesting question here while we wait for the draw to start. Does the post draw in the Preakness, Aaron? Does it really matter that much?
Nope.
All right.
Give us more. No, I mean it really doesn't. What do you want? I mean the best. This is why we always say, and it's not like we say it. I mean, it's pretty much true. The best horse typically wins this race, and that's because you don't have a lot of other outside factors, post position and traffic and whatever. You're getting more of a. This is out of the 3 legs. This is the more standard one. The more distance wise that they're used to running. So you're going to see a horse that should win, typically does win, or runs really well.
I think they're talking to you, Jared. Nice haircut. Did you get a haircut? I haven't gotten a haircut. Mike's the one that's not here. Mike is missing.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get a haircut recently. I got before the Derby, but and Mike's not here, so I don't know.
True to form, it's after post-time draw, and they're still doing the. If you're not watching, it's on YouTube, at least on the Preakness Stakes YouTube channel, Maryland Racing YouTube channel. We're waiting for it to start, but there's a blue screen, and they're playing sex music. So I wonder how many babies are going to get made while we're waiting for the Preakness draw here. Bree brings up a great point. No Pratt Daddy on Saturday. We were just talking about that right before we went live. I'm going to have to actually handicap these stupid turf races now.
Yeah, that's what I told. Bree asked on the Dudes Who Bet Sports show just a minute ago about it, and I said kind of for the Preakness it doesn't really matter, but yeah, some of these undercard races where he may have been on a horse and it's that horse must be loaded if Pratt's on. Yeah, we're not going to have that advantage. That makes it a little bit more difficult. Overall, though, like I said, if you're going to miss one of the 3 Triple Crown days, this is the one to miss because that undercard, which is where Pratt really makes his money, it's not quite as strong as those undercards on Belmont Day or the undercards at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day.
Jared, what did you think about that? You see Pratt's not going to be riding. But he's riding Friday.
I mean, I guess, Irad's back on his number 1 horses again on the turf, I guess. That's so Irad's got to be happy, But no, I mean, it's the tear they've been on. Well, they've been on for a while, but especially lately with these 2 freaks back-to-back weekends on the turf for Chad Brown. And of course, now, I mean, Chad probably pushed, right? He probably pushed for the suspension to start just to be like, fuckers, I want to tell you, I'm the one doing it. Everyone saw his tweet last night about when am I going to get credit for having these horses ready? So maybe he's doing it. He pushed for the Pratt suspension to start Saturday so he can still win. He'll probably put on some shitty jocks too, just to prove his point.
As we're talking about Chad Brown, and I'm quickly going through this overnight, I think he has one horse entered on Saturday. I had not looked at Friday. So it kind of makes you wonder if they sat down and said, look, take your suspension here. You're not going to miss anything. Because, he ran so many horses Kentucky Derby weekend. And then last week, look at all the horses he ran. So maybe they kind of sat down and looked at it and said, hey, we're kind of going to skip over this. We'll get you ready for Belmont coming up the next 2 or 3 weeks.
So do you guys take any stock into that in turn? I mean, yeah, there's only one, or you think there's only one. So that horse probably isn't super live. You know what I mean? Because it's he's probably we're not really giving it our best on this weekend.
Let's see. I didn't even see who the horse was.
Who is
here.
it? Yeah.
Technical analysis is the only one I'm seeing for Brown. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not a horse that you're over the moon about. Won a few races, won 2 or 3 affiliate, I should say. Yeah, maybe that's this is the weekend to stay away. Maybe they're just we're just throwing that one in because we didn't have a spot.
Douglas, we're jumping ahead a little bit, talking about Secret Oath and the Preakness Stakes. Says Secret Oath is not Rachel Alexander's. Everybody to specifically bet against a horse. Not in America, but you want to go heads up with somebody, you can do that. Mike Somich loves to do that. Find somebody who has an opposite opinion than you and challenge them to a heads up bet. So you can try and do that. Maybe it'll work out.
Well, I think one way you could specifically go against her is just leave her out of everything, exactas, tries, stuff like that, and it'll juice up your other payouts if you've got that strong of an opinion.
Right. There just isn't a head-to-head bet
right.
a lot of times that you can see. We were let's talk about this for a second while we still wait for this draw. Chad Brown wants to give it to OXO Equine at Belmont. Chad Brown and OXO Equine, a little bit of shade being thrown last night, Aaron. A little bit of drama in horse racing Twitter. It's not Tuesday yet, but it was a little nice little present.
I mean, it was pretty funny. There's no doubt about it. It was pretty darn hilarious to see that happen there. Yeah, Chad Brown saying, first of all, Don, how do you say his last name?
Chatlos, I think.
Chatlos, that's how I was going to say it. Okay, good deal. Don Chatlos given all the credit for Flavian Pratt on a ride where Flavian took him all the way to the back, had the horse 10 wide on the turn, and just galloped because the horse was just much the best yesterday at Belmont. And I guess Chad Brown did not like the comment. And so anyway, yeah, there's the comment there. So Chad was a little bit snarky on Twitter yesterday.
Boy, it's something every once in a while. Chad gets a little bee in that bonnet of his, man, and it sets him off on Twitter. Remember the big battle with him and Shug last year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's just nice that there was some drama on Twitter that we weren't involved in. So
yes, yeah, for sure. And Chad is actually a great follow. He seems very boring, in interviews and stuff, but on Twitter, I feel like the real Chad comes out, right? It's oh yeah, there we go.
It's not the same. I just feel you look at him on TV and when in person, and he's always he's always got his getting a picture taken, got his suit on and all that, and very when he does interviews, he's very just kind of monotone, and it's just then you get to see Twitter where it's he's got to vent out somewhere.
It's great.
It's crazy. I love it.
You gonna do this or not?
I have no idea. I was just starting to look. I'm looking around on the internet to make sure I don't have the wrong thing going. I mean, my good God, this is terrible.
Is it still just blue screen?
That's what I've got.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Here, I'll get on it just
in
case your
computer's Facebook and see if it's there.
Let's see.
I got to give you credit, dude. By the way, Halterman, you're the one that was responsible for the response or the little GIF there on the Chad Brown, which he follows us, so he saw that, which is hilarious if you think about it. So because he's probably thinking, "What a great response."
I love it. Yeah, no, I mean that was the only response possible. Yeah, Magic, it's a blue screen for me too, by the way.
There are 3 live videos on Facebook covering the Preakness Stakes. One is the actual draw, one is us, and one's Horse Racing Nation.
Well, there you go. And nobody has a draw yet. So
no.
Do you want to do the draw real fast? Do you want to do it yourself, Magic?
I was gonna say, do you want to be? Should I make up what's happening right now?
I was actually about to pull out the overnights, and we can just start looking at that instead. Let me get those pulled up for a second. We can do that.
Well, it's funny. We got tricked. We got in here. We'll get here a little early, and then they'll start drawing at 3. Oh,
God, the Derby, they were right on top of it, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's Kentucky and Churchill, and this is shithole Preakness, and
this is Pimlico,
where they still don't have working urinals in the infield.
I would not be surprised if that's the reason why, like, they haven't figured out
some
how
sort
to
of
put it
tech
on
issue.
there. Yeah. Dan loves to give Miranda crap about Secret Oath. I like it too.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, it is a good.
And she takes it. I mean, she knows.
Yeah,
she knows she got that wrong. It's not like it. It's not like any of us have never said something on here that turned out to be dead wrong. Right? Hers just went after somebody that people really love.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think Miranda. Not to speak for Miranda, but many of us that are newer to the game, like not training in the 60s and 70s, probably look at Dwayne's methods and think, well, that's not how you're supposed to do it, right? But he went to a different school than all of us.
Can we like keep that up on the screen the whole time?
Katie, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to us on YouTube.
That is.
I'd buy you a drink, Katie, if you were track with us.
I certainly would buy Katie a drink at the Kentucky Derby because they were free.
Yep.
I pulled that line many times on people.
See, this is it
never got old either.
You were like, the next year I'll go to the Preakness instead of the Derby, and I'm like, but the Derby, you have all these free drinks. Why are you leaving that?
That's true. I've heard the Preakness is just bad. So, as far as accommodations, yeah. There's people. I've got the Preakness draw up now, just in case Magic's computer is frozen, and it's not, by the way. People are getting restless in their chat. Let's put it that way.
Well, does it really surprise any of you that this is the case? I mean, I guarantee you, once it starts, there will be issues. So, I mean, just bear with us.
Oh man.
They set us up, Jared. The thing is, like with the Derby, it was like right on the dot. It was like the clock turned and they went live, and we almost like missed the start of it because we were expected this shit. And no, that's what they made us think we could handle it.
Yeah.
That's what you get for thinking, Magic.
That's right. I've always told you not to think. Yeah, still nothing here. Things to do, patience to see, Dr. T.
Okay, somebody from Blood Horse posted a photo of the stage 5 minutes ago, and it's still empty. Like nobody's even up there ready to. What are we doing?
All right, let's have our own draw. What do you say?
Where's your hat, Aaron? Get your hat out. And we'll just.
People are dying literally at Dr. Tang's office right now because of this wait. You're killing people literally, Pimlico.
Oh gosh. Let's see.
You want to just
we can talk about who's in it. Somebody wants to know who's running. We don't know the order, but we can talk about who's in the race.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Last minute edition in Fenwick.
If anybody knows who's riding Happy Jack, tell me in the chat. That's the one I couldn't figure out.
I think I spread that somewhere. Don't know what they said. Maybe Gaffleone. Maybe.
Well, he doesn't have a ride in the race. Yeah.
I thought that's what it said, but I'm not sure about that.
We'll let them tell us we're wrong. How about
out
that?
of this list, which one do you guys like that isn't named Epicenter or Secret Oath or early voting?
Stop. Okay, you just took away.
Well, that's the thing. One of these other horses has to hit the board here. So
I got mine.
Who's it going to be? Go ahead, Jane.
It's simplification for me.
Damn. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Honestly, I'm going to think long and hard about picking him to win. And I really don't know if he can, but he's got like bounce back written all over him, I think, in this race. And he's got that kind of tactical ability. I mean, he can do everything, right? He goes from like a mile out of it, or he can be close to the lead. His trip, I've said it many times, his trip in the Derby was not ideal, and I still like the way he finished. He was never going to win, but him and Rich Strike were right there, and one went outside, one went inside, and of course Rich Strike won. And I'm not saying he would have won, but I think he would have been closer, no doubt about it. So he ran a kind of a sneaky good race. Now, can he win? Probably not. He's going to have to run his best race. But he's super true, right? So I think he's going to show up.
I mean, he does every time. Where do you think he'll be? First part of the race. That's even harder than
that's harder than trying to decide if he's going to run well or not. I think. I would say he'll be just in a smaller field and more of a standardized type race. I'd say he's going to be right there in that first flight. Right behind maybe the first flight, like early voting and Armiac and those horses that like to go. I think you're going to see him Secret Oath-ish, maybe not as far back, maybe between Secret Oath and those front pace leaders.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's where he needs to be.
That's where he needs to be, yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think this race is fixed like the Derby and Happy Jack will beat Epicenter? No?
I don't think so.
I'm going to say it's not. So.
I'm going to say it's unlikely. I'm not saying no to anything else. I'm just
First
going to say it's not likely
rigged,
or it's not for me.
We're here to answer your questions. That's why I threw that up.
If it is rigged, why are we assuming Happy Jack gets the benefit of the rigged? Out of all the horses, that's where you went with? Okay.
Well, listen, I think Skippy Longstocking if it's rigged, will be the winner.
Hey, that's my horse. I like that horse. He'll finish like a distant fourth. Then they'll run him in the Belmont, and he'll finish a distant fourth probably again.
That's funny, probably. Vicky asked a question: did we see the the goggle cam? I always read that as Google. See the goggle cam. Epicenter got a ton of kickback, kept on a killer pace, and still had fight. Yeah, I mean, I did, and I certainly think that that's why he's going to be a commanding favorite here. He really did nothing wrong until the last few strides of the race, right?
I can't bring myself to watch that. That feels like torture porn right now. I'm like, I don't want to watch this happen again. So I did if anybody's watching this, if you want some really great stuff on the Preakness, I did a video that came out this morning on our YouTube channel that's 5 myths about the Preakness Stakes, and some of them are kind of related to horses that'll be in here. Specifically, Epicenter history doesn't shine too brightly on horses that were runner-ups in the Kentucky Derby. I did see a comment from someone that I thought was a great point, that it was a fluke win. So does he really count as a runner-up because of Rich Strike doing what he did? But still, some great points over there. One of them was about horses that don't hit the board in the Kentucky Derby actually do pretty well in the Preakness. There's been 11 horses since the mid-'80s that have won the Preakness after finishing 5th or worse in the Derby. War of Will did it, right? We remember War of Will getting his ass knocked around. Didn't go to didn't do well in the Derby. Was he 7th? I think he was, and then ends up winning the Preakness. So it's a cool video. If you get a chance after this is over, or hell, this could go for another 10 minutes. It's not that long of a video. You can go watch it now and come back. We'll still be here.
I was going to say,
honestly.
Yeah, well, maybe right after, go watch it. We'd love to keep you around a little bit.
What about you guys? You guys didn't give, or was simplification your guys' answer? Who's your horse that you're considering?
I would lean towards Creative Minister as a horse that I think can hit the board. Ran pretty well. 2 turns, definitely what this horse wants to do. I don't love him, but as you look a little bit closer at him, it's like, well, he's probably going to come with the run. I think he's going to pass a lot of tired horses. We know he's in pretty good form. Creative Minister for me, when I would think about using him.
They had to. I saw today. The connections had to pay to get him in the game. $150K to get him. For the Belmont and the Preakness. So they're not only are they going to run him, but they had to basically spend $150K just to get him in there. So we'll see. I mean, they obviously like him enough to try, and not just try, but to put the money up to do it. I mean, he's a creative cause by a Tappet mare. You would think going longer the better, right? And he looked good. I mean, he looked really good at Churchill that day. Yeah,
he did. He definitely did. Yeah, this says Epicenter is the best source. Question is whether he's able to recover 2 weeks of huge effort. Yep. Right. I mean, that's it.
And I read he had that easy breeze this morning, and afterwards it was like 104 for 5 furlongs. It was meant to be really kind of easy for him to just get his legs under, but they said he went well, and his appetite hasn't changed. And Asmussen said that he's been such a consistent horse training wise all year long that the smallest change would tell them something's wrong with him. So I thought that was kind of cool that they know him well enough and he's consistent enough of a horse to train that, if he starts acting a little off in any way, they'll know to pull the plug on him. I was going to say Skippy Longstocking, I don't think could be necessarily the worst pick, at least for a horse. If you go outside the top 3, you're kind of grasping at straws or long shots. But one thing from that Preakness video that I found out is that horses that are new, like to the Derby Trail or to the actual Triple Crown, they actually have a really good chance. If you think about it, 3 of the last horses that won the Preakness in the last 5 years weren't even in the Derby. You had Rombauer, who won the Lexington, or no, he's 3rd in the Lexington. Swiss Skydiver did it after beating after getting 2nd in the Oaks, and then Cloud Computing. And all 3 of those horses, not only did they win the Preakness after not being in the Derby, they did it after not winning their last race. So they came into this already off of a loss. Cloud Computing lost the Wood, and that's got a lot of people comparing him to early voting because they both skipped. So Skippy Longstocking with Saffie Joseph Jr. It's a horse that he thought was kind of like his second tier under White Abarrio, but I mean, if he's going to be a long price, and also in 26 of the last 32 Preaknesses, you've had at least one non-Derby horse in the trifecta. So find a new horse that it wasn't in the Derby that you think is improving, that you think could have hit the board at a strong chance. If it's a good price, it's going to be a good horse to use.
I mean, he fits the bill better than any of the other new shooters other than early voting, as far as a horse that's you could project like improvement. So makes sense. I mean, he's the second tier horse behind White Abarrio, who just got like 15th in the Kentucky Derby. That's a negative. But the positive is he's getting better. He looked pretty good last time out. So maybe. You can tell I'm really excited about him.
What do you think what odds are you going to get on Creative Minister?
12 or 15 maybe.
I was gonna guess around like 8.
Really?
He's interesting.
Well, he won. He got a buyer. Like, you can make an argument that he's improving. For a lot of these horses, you have to make bigger arguments than, hey, he's improving.
Well, he lost on debut and a pretty good effort, really. Just lost by neck, and then of course that was going 7 furlongs. Debuted in March at Gulfstream, and then Keeneland won, going longer. Churchill going longer, won, and every race has been better than the last. And like you say, stretching out. You got to think they'll hit. I'd be surprised if they hit the top of the stretch and he's not at least like in the mix. I don't know if he'll be close, but he'll give it a run. It seems like he's been running really well, so I don't hate that. I don't hate that he's in this race. I think he could definitely bang up there and get 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
Him winning would be surprised, I think. But
yeah, it's funny. Nobody's talking about him being 2 weeks layoff and can he recover?
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
I don't think people really remember. Yeah, that was just 2 weeks ago that he ran as well. So
and the undercard, yeah.
You know what scares me the most about Epicenter? And I think he's clear standout in this race, but it's a field that it's like, yeah, this field isn't great, but he beats the good horses that he runs against. It's the bad ones that have been able to beat him, at least coming in on paper. Call Me Midnight and Rich Strike. So it's almost like, well, if he's going to lose, it's going to be like Happy Jack that does it. Skippy Longstocking, somebody like that. It's like when he gets challenged by these good horses, he beats them. It's been the bad ones that he couldn't hold off. Or at least maybe not bad's the wrong word, but just the longer prices, the ones you don't see coming.
Yeah, I think that's the danger is it's like it could be one of those where it's like, okay, well, he handled, Secret Oath or whatever. Secret Oath can't get to him, but then here comes, whoever.
Yeah.
Down the outside or whatever, and you're like, shit, can he hold off him too? And I don't know, like, you guys can comment on this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's always, you always hear the trainers, the ones that are really good, the ones that do this a lot in terms of, which Asmussen of course does when he's running that horse back in the Preakness after a 2-week turnaround from the Derby, and they always say it's not too hard to train up to the Preakness because you're not doing a lot, you're just keeping the horse happy and fresh, and maybe so if he's in the race, I feel like you're gonna get the effort. I mean, I'd be more worried about him running the Belmont than I would be in terms of how he is. The Preakness, I feel like he's still gonna be kind of on his toes, and you're still gonna get him about what you got him in the Derby. And frankly, let's be honest. I mean, Rich Strike, whatever, he's not in the race, but the horse will beat him, and Zan is not in here, and his biggest threat is he should win this thing. He really should. He's got the tactical advantage. He's the best horse in the race. And I think you're going to see or get a similar effort that you saw out of the Derby. You should in this race.
I think you're right. And I think if you get that effort, it's just hard to see him losing. And I can't remember who mentioned it, but somebody's talking about, well, look at the trip that Simplification got. Look at the trip that Epicenter got. Was he really that much better? And that is definitely, there you go, Oldie. Oh, yeah, he says that. And he says, if you focus on those two horses, the trips may have made the difference there. I don't think you're wrong. And you don't have to invite me to watch the replay. I've watched it probably 30 times. But I think the thing about it is, look at all the other data points. I think it points to Epicenter, right? Okay, Derby, maybe they were similar, but you look at all the other data points with these prep races coming in, it just seems like Epicenter's just been a little bit better. I think the thing with Simplification, the Florida Derby, just to finish third in that race, that wasn't the greatest sign. And he really hasn't been competitive with White Barrio in both the times they faced. I wouldn't pick White Barrio in this race. So I'm having a hard time picking Simplification on top. He's in the mix. I've got him second at this point. I think he's in the mix. I think he's a tough horse. And really, with Epicenter and Simplification both, have they not been the two most consistent horses in the crop?
Yep. And Curtis says something like, basically he's not worried about when horses come back quickly. It's the next race after they come back quickly. And that's, but that's why the Triple Crown is the Triple Crown, right? Because you have to go back 3 weeks later and not only come back, but you have to run the longest you're ever going to run, which is why it's so dramatic and almost impossible to do. So yeah, that's the race, right? And you got to think, obviously, if he wins here, and that's the thing too. I wanted to mention, I was thinking about, it's like people might say, well, Rich Strike is out. It sucks. I'm not going to watch this. No Triple Crown on the line. Yeah, I get it. But one, was he really going to win? Okay, and two, and to me, this is where history comes back into play. Is we can still root for Epicenter to win here, and then what if we see him win the Belmont? And just think of that story. I mean, this is like a Fleet Alex 2.0. If he goes down on his knees in the top of the stretch of this race, then he will be. But you go back and you look, and Fleet Alex is you say he should have won the Triple Crown. He should have, and he didn't. And Epicenter could be that horse. He could go and win this, and they go win the Belmont, and we could look back for forever and say, that horse would have won the Triple Crown if not for the second longest shot to ever win the Kentucky Derby. And so I still think watching this race and betting this race has its perks, because while you don't have the Triple Crown history on the line, you do have that kind of other side of history. Can Epicenter rebound? Can he win 2 of the 3 legs? To me, it's not as exciting, but like I said, I don't think Rich Strike was going to win the Triple Crown anyways.
I think for racing fans, it doesn't really matter, and that's the attitude I have as well. I think for the general public, that's where that comes into play of Rich Strike not being here. I think racing fans are going to watch the Preakness if it's 8 donkeys lining up, like literal donkeys. As long as it says Preakness Stakes, we're going to watch it, we're going to bet it, we're going to crown that champion and talk about him, right?
Well, this year they're calling it the President's Cup. That's what it is for the Arabian horses. Yeah, that's
right.
race.
But if that Arabian race said Preakness on it, us horse racing fans would hype it up and talk about it, right? And that's kind of my point of it. So I agree with Jared's take. From if you like racing, you don't really care who's in this race. You're excited about it. If you're a casual fan, that's where it's going to hurt. And I think, last year the casual fan was really into it because we had controversy around it. And I know a lot of people in racing were like, oh, that's going to kill it. No. Controversy, people's eyes on it. Let's see how that drugged horse runs in this Preakness. I'm telling you, those are marketing points for networks. Where here, the marketing point really fell off for that casual fan. But at the end of the day, the casual fan, they're not propping up the game day in and day out. But the thing you might miss is turning a casual fan into more. They're going to drop off, and that opportunity's kind of gone.
Is it still blue screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we're getting close, though. Apparently, they changed the time to 4:30 or 4:30 Eastern, so we didn't realize that. Yeah. I think they changed it after 4 had already passed. Yeah, I know. Thank you. My phone's even telling me. Yes. But they should be starting anytime. I heard them do the mic check. So.
Now it's a yellow screen. Here we go. They're starting.
Man,
there we go. Yeah, you're a little. I see. I was a little behind.
We've effectively killed 30 minutes. So.
Wow. Listen. Let's just do this 13 more times. That's the Kentucky Derby. There you go. That's Derby day for me.
But Jared's got a good point on that epicenter thing, too. If he wins 2 of the 3 legs and finishes second in the Derby and beaten by an 80-1 shot, that will be something that's talked about for years and years and years.
We'll, if you're watching us, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks for waiting. We didn't know it was going to be so long, but we'll have the updated fields here on the screen. They're also drawing the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes, so we'll update that one as we go. A list of 13 fillies in here. We haven't talked about it, but just real quick, Aaron, while we wait for the draw for these races, your initial thoughts for the Black-Eyed Susan?
Well, I think, Adari Manor is really the one that's interesting to me. I want to see what odds are we going to get on her? Where does she draw? All that kind of stuff. Because in a field of 13, that will start to make a difference a little bit versus a field of 9 where it doesn't make much difference at all. But, Adari Manor is a horse, especially you and I, Magic, were like, oh, this horse is a monster. Got beat in the Santa Anita Derby. The horse that beat her in the Santa Anita Oaks, the horse that beat her in the Santa Anita Oaks came back and ran well in the Kentucky Oaks, got third. So perhaps Adari Manor kind of sneaks in here and we get a price. She's interesting to me here.
Jared, any thoughts when you look at this field?
Hey, I mean, I'm excited. I'm hoping we do get a price because, I define price, right? But still, because I thought that day, the same Santa Anita Oaks day, I was like, well, I just need to see her win here, and she's my pick for the Oaks, the Kentucky Oaks, And so, with you guys, I thought extremely high. I was extremely high on her, and if she comes back into this race, if you get any kind of value on her, I think he's like Halterman said. Not that she probably still should have won that race, but the winner came back and ran really well in the Oaks, and so it's not maybe that was less fluky than we thought, and yeah, to me, she's the one I'm looking at, obviously.
I think the one you're looking at is the one who's on the screen right now, right?
That's right. Brittany Ayrton on the screen right now.
Stop talking to me, guys.
Did you know she once dated Woody Harrelson?
That's not real.
All right, here we go.
We got a lot of inside information on
and you can get that as a Racing Dudes Premium member behind the paywall. Join Racing Dudes Premium. You'll get the Inside Track podcast, only available if you spend enough money.
That's good. Yeah, that's a premium.
It is a $2 million because that's how much the legal defense fees will be. Yes.
Yep.
It's
good. It's good. I guarantee it.
We did talk about it. We talked about it at the start of the show, but yeah, he's suspended beginning Saturday, so he's going to ride Divine Huntress for Grand Motion and other stuff here. So. Yeah, that's Pratt Daddy.
Put up Dr. Tangs. That's great.
He's the real hero.
Wow.
He's out there treating cancer,
How
trying
do
to
I
watch us, trying to
screenshot
watch
this?
the
Hold
draw.
on.
I mean, this
Yeah, you've got to you got
I'm
to
screenshotting this right now.
and he won a tournament on Sunday. I mean, this guy does it all.
It's nice that he, like, Dr. Tang is so good at tournaments, but he shows up at the Friday tournaments and is like, you know what? I'm just here for charity, guys.
I have a feeling Dr. Tang will beat us by $100 one day. He's all or nothing.
Yep.
He's just waiting for that one Friday when it's like bombs away at every damn track.
He doesn't like Friday because it's too chalky. He says so.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Oh,
look at that. The Preakness party. I recognize Lauren Hill. Oh, Megan Thee Stallion. I've heard her name. I couldn't tell you what she sings.
Yeah.
Doesn't that like define racing though? Like this dude is like literally like curing people with cancer, and they can't even draw the field in the same time.
He just wants to go to work and help these people, but he can't.
I'm putting that back up there.
Amazing. Meanwhile, they're showing every fucking ad they have on the Preakness draw.
DJ Quicksilva is going to be there, though. We know
Yeah,
that.
the Marshmallow guy is going to be there. My boys are pumped about that.
Who is that?
Who
A
the
DJ, what's his name? Marshmallow Head or something?
Are you making this up, or is this a serious
No.
thing?
Someone tell me in the chat what his name is.
DJ Marshmallow Head?
That's what I
You
call
guys are
him,
making
that's what
things
the
up
boys
again. I
call
don't
Marshmallow Head. But there's a video running around with that riding a horse, and the boys thought that was awesome.
Can you imagine you're walking around trying to see cancer patients, and you're talking about DJ Marshmallow Head in your headphones that you're listening to? Man,
I think it's just DJ Marshmallow. I don't think
Marshmallow. He says. Dr. Thing says, yeah.
Yeah, my boys they have like all kinds of like games and stuff with the marshmallow.
His name is
His
just
name
Marshmallow.
is just Marshmallow.
People are
So in my house, it's Marshmallow Head because that's what the boys call him. So I apologize, Marshmallow. But yes.
Hey, can you answer this one for Tad, Jared?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, honestly, I would go back to Prairie Meadows just so I can eat at Jethro's. Like that's the goal of the trip. And then hey, let's go to Prairie Meadows while we're there. I cannot recommend more than nachos and the Altoona water. You got to get the Altoona water. It's insanely good.
Yep.
The wings are really good too. If you like wings, they have really good barbecue wings or like
boneless or bone in?
Bone in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You'll probably see some celebrities there too.
Maybe Mr. Hall of Fame Kelly Von Hemel himself. I don't know.
Well, his son will be there for sure. I don't know if Kelly will be there.
His son buys enough drinks there. I think they built a location named after him. So
That's right. I once met a Kentucky Derby winning trainer there, and that's not a lie.
was he drinking Altoona water?
He was probably. There's no telling. Chip Woolley was there. Oh, Marshmallow, DJ Marshmallow. All right, well, Woody Harrelson will also be there. Yeah, yep.
Now, draw the damn races. Why are we still talking? Oh my God!
This is unbelievable. DJ Marshmallow will also be at Jethro's as well. Kelby, not Colby.
Kind of like Colby, but his name's Kelby. But yeah, it's close.
He looks like a Colby a little bit.
Yep.
And Trev, you know him. I don't know if that's good or bad. Nick lost his interest in the draw. Me too. Like 35 minutes ago.
I thought I'd be done by now. So
I thought, Aaron had already be working on the guide.
Well, I had so many plans lined up that have been canceled now. So no, nobody thought that was funny. All right.
I'm just mad that we're still talking and not drawing a goddamn horse race right now.
I had to go to my Woody Harrelson content. That's how bad this has gotten.
5 minutes ago, you had to go to the Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick. We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
What biases or things do I have to worry about betting the track?
Okay.
Try to get the
Here we
ones that
go.
are going to make it around. That's the big key.
Black Eyed Susan. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
You narrate. I'm gonna listen to Brittany.
I'm narrating. Okay. Are they going to put up a graphic? Because I have it on mute, so I can't talk to the people and listen at the same time.
Jared, are you listening to it?
I'm not. No.
I'll say it then. Okay.
Okay.
13.
Okay.
Morning matcha.
Morning matcha, the 13. Well, throw them out. You can't win from outside posts, right?
20-1. All the way outside. Hey, there's a graphic. Now it's up.
There it is.
How many-
Okay. Yeah.
How many of this Black Eyed Susan Field have you heard of, Magic?
Sorry,
Be
what?
real. Like 4?
I'm listening to Brittany. What are you saying?
How many horses in this field have you heard of?
I like 3. Missy Greer is one of them. She just drew post 2. I thought that was a completely different horse.
Missy Greer, 20-1. Luis Saez. The 12 is Favor in 8-1 on Favor.
Mm-hmm.
I love this graphic now.
It is helpful.
Yeah. It is very helpful.
Luna Bell 6.
Luna Bell 6.
Everybody cheering. This must 9-2. I've never even heard of this horse, and she's the 9-2 second choice.
Who is it?
Luna Bell?
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Luna Bell.
Sure. I will say I don't know that you want to be like, if you're a Dare Manor, I don't know if you really want to be like super wide here.
Yeah.
But at least the 13 and 12 spots taken. But ideally she would be right there, like 7, 8, somewhere in there. 3, 4 would be fine, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, what's that?
Flavian Pratt got 15-1 on the rail with Divine Huntress.
Divine Huntress 15-1. So Flavian can ride on Friday. It starts Saturday.
Right. Candy Light got 8, the other Grand Motion. So bet that horse. Pratt's on 1. This is the other.
They thought Divine Huntress was going to be pretty good at one time, and then hasn't done much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked that horse down at Fairgrounds when she ran 5th, so that was good.
12-1 for Shug and Radio Days. See if they can rebound from the Kathleen. Oh.
Radio Days, yeah, the 11 horse. I don't know. That
There
was one
she
I
is.
was kind of high on, and then didn't do much.
Dare Manor's the favorite. Do you want to guess the price?
7-2.
Ooh, you're close. 5-2.
5-2.
5-2 with Dare
10.
Manor.
What do you think about the 10?
I think it's all right. I mean, it's maybe not ideal, but I mean, we just mentioned that we haven't heard of like all but like 2 horses in here. So, I mean, if she's good enough, she should win, right?
Yeah.
But 5-2 is more than fair.
I think he said Kathleen O, the name we do not speak. I agree.
Almost done with the draw. Nothing really of note. I still don't know who most of these fillies are. Interstate Daydream got 9. That's one that I'd heard of.
Yeah.
Brad Cox.
Yeah. Not too bad of a horse there.
6-1 third choice right there.
Okay. That makes sense. That horse has run some big races.
Ooh. Chad. 6-1 for Distinctly Possible as well. She got post 7. Nobody cheered, but that's a pretty nice draw for her right in the middle of that field.
That's the one the other one I kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be a Chad that's getting ready to run a pretty good race. The horse it took 3 starts to break the maiden, but ran in 2 races last year, got second in a maiden at Saratoga, and then tried the grade 1 Darley Alcibiades at Keeneland and got second again, and then came back at that Keeneland meet and broke the maiden there at Keeneland. Did it by like a length, 2 lengths. I can't remember the exact margin, but yeah, that horse is interesting.
And the horse that she beat by a head in her debut at Saratoga and Moray is a Todd Pletcher horse that I have a small piece of, but has done pretty well. It hasn't developed quite as nicely as Distinctly Possible has, but I like that she beat Miss Yearwood, who's going to show up. And Miss Yearwood broke her maiden next out and shows back up in this spot as well.
Yeah. Also, the horse that beat distinctly possible in the Darley Alcibiades was Juju's Map, who would probably be the favorite if she was in this race, especially after it just. That's one horse. You know what we haven't talked about because it's totally forgotten. But on undercard there, was that Oaks or Derby Day undercard where Juju's Map just dominated?
Was it Oaks?
I think it was Oaks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Oaks Morning. Well,
She was really good.
well, she beat older horses too, right? It wasn't they were allowance horses, but they were older.
Mm-hmm. She looked
Yeah, it was
very, very good.
quite the return. So, what price would you be willing to play with the Deer Manor?
Probably that. I don't want to go any lower.
I don't know that I want to play her. I don't know. I mean, this is a mess of a field, but I think at 5-2 she might be too short. Those horses leaving Baffert did not do well, right? And now this horse left Yaktine because the St. Oaks went poorly. So, all right, I think we're getting the Preakness. This one will be faster. There's only 9 horses, right?
All right, we're ready.
I'm with you guys. Distinctly Possible is one that is very interesting here for sure. If you're going to go and upset.
Did they draw? No. She's talking though. She seems very excited.
Well, she's excited because it's now a $1.65 million purse thanks to that creative minister entry. That's literally what she was saying.
Oh, that's why she got excited? Okay. Could be why she dated Woody Harrelson.
Epicenter's number is the first one drawn.
8.
Thank you. Jesus. 6-5. Would you say, Jared, 8-5 was your guess?
8-5. That's wow.
It's accurate. I just didn't think they'd have the stones to put him that low.
Yeah. It's probably where he goes off at, or even lower now.
Florent Drew is going to ride Fenwick.
50
50-1. Finally, we have proper odds in a Triple Crown race.
Wow.
2. Creative Ministers number 2.
Okay.
You can tell that the photos, Jared, you notice this? The photos are being like all screwed up to fit that little box. Little editing thing, but every time they show a photo of a horse, it's like this and that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, early voting got 9.
Ooh,
that's
outside of Epicenter. Oh, I'm sorry, 5. I thought they said 9.
Oh, well.
Okay.
He is the 9 horse in that picture.
That's true. I was like, hey, that's kind of ironic. 7-2, second choice. Wow.
Okay.
That's a good post position for him.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think
Right-
Epicenter
right
is
in the
happy
shit.
that he drew outside of him.
Yep.
I love the wide
Skippy,
draw
number
for
9.
Epicenter. That's a perfect spot.
Yep.
Where'd the winner go here? What did he get, Skippy?
20-1, number 9.
There you go.
Skippy Longstocking.
It's a good spot for him too because he's not going to be pushing the pace. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Armagnac got 7.
Okay.
Another speed horse that's good to the inside of Epicenter, which I mean they're all going to be inside of him now with the Skippy Longstocking being only horse outside of him, but he's going to sit the perfect trip right from the gate. Epicenter.
I'm just 4 for Secret Oath. Okay.
Okay.
The crowd was a little ooh, when that happened.
Why?
What's that matter?
Yeah.
9-2, third choice. That's what Brittany said. She said, "Do we like that? I can't tell."
That should be fine.
You've got 1 and 6 left for Happy Jack and
9-2.
Simplification.
Well, Happy Jacket doesn't matter. He's going to run the same.
6 for Happy Jack, which means Simplification got the rail.
That's
Which
not,
means we'll see him up near the lead now.
Yeah. I actually think that is not ideal for him. Because I think it kind of forces his hand to go. And then if he breaks poorly, he's going to be further back than maybe they want to be.
Right.
But I mean, still, it doesn't really, at the end of the day, if he's good enough, he can win from there.
You know, the thing about it though is you're gonna see him he'll have to go, like you said. And if they don't make it the lead with him, he's going to end up being right behind horses, right on the rail, which might be a perfect rail trip for him if they can work out a trip. But yeah, I don't know if it's ideal. I'd rather have had him in that, say, 6th spot, but
yeah.
Well, that's it. There's your field of 9 up there.
So let's see. Creative Minister's 10-1 morning line. So he could go to 8. He could go to 12. That's about right. How we were talking. What's simplification 6-1? Well, listen. Anybody that's going to bet that horse, if he's 6-1, it's kind of hard to say don't do that. He probably should not be 6-1. I mean, I still don't think that doesn't mean I think he's going to win, but that's a good enough price, right?
Well, the Epicenter at 6-5 did a lot of favors for anybody that's going to try to beat him, because he's going to be pounded at 6-5. It's kind of like we talked about with, like, for instance, Taba in the Derby, where it was like had such a high morning line that, yeah, he got bet down, but if he would have been 5-1 morning line, he would have got bet down even harder, which obviously changes things. So, being that you get that low morning line on Epicenter, he'll be bet. And so will Secret Oath, and of course early voting, and simplification might be the forgotten horse here.
Seems that way. Early voting, I think everybody thinks gate to wire, and that's it. And I think those horses take money.
Yeah.
And then the filly's going to take money. I think that line's right. Maybe she's not the 3rd most likely winner on paper. Maybe if she was a male, she wouldn't be the 3rd most likely winner. She won the Kentucky Oak. She's a filly. She's going to take money.
I think that early voting is just a tad, well, maybe more than a tad, overrated at this point. Like, everyone's assuming he's going to go gate to wire, like he almost did it in the Wood, and but it's like, well, they skipped the Derby because they didn't think he could go that far, and then you're just assuming that he can, but here he can do it and hold off Epicenter and hold off the Oaks winner, and hold off. So I just feel like 7-2 even seems low for me on early voting, to be honest. I understand why he is. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to play him at 7-2.
I think it's a matter of, what do you think of Mo Donegal, right? Because Epicenter hung tough, almost beat him. But early voting. But early voting also had a huge advantage over him as far as the pace goes. So do you think Mo Donegal is just a monster and was able to go get him, but not very many horses could have went and got him that day? If you think that, you're going to play early voting. If you think, well, Mo Donegal's just okay and early voting should have beat him that day with the setup, then I don't think you play early voting in this spot.
Do you think early voting is a all or nothing kind of horse in terms, like, meaning, do you think you play him on top or you don't play him at all in your top 3 if you're playing a try? Like, if you don't like him, like, you think he's just going to fold at the top of the stretch, and simplification, Secret Oath, Epicenter all get by him?
Yeah, he's kind of a candidate to me of, if one horse passes him, a few might pass him type, unless it's late in the race. The problem with this race is you're going to have to, out of those top 4, you're going to have to throw one out, and then you're going to have to put another one that's a longer price in if you're playing exactas and tries, and just, take a stand against one of those top 4 in the odds. He's a tough one, because in one way it's like, yeah, they skipped the Derby. They probably weren't thinking he was, ready to roll. But at the same time, they pointed for this race pretty much right after the Wood. Like, the Derby was kind of the backup plan in a way. It's Chad Brown. He's pointed for the race. I don't think he's the one that you throw out of there. I think you've got to have him involved. And as much as I hate to say it, and I think the filly has a shot, that's probably the one you got to take a shot against, because she's probably going to take more money than she should. And that's not a knock on her as much as it's a filly. She's going to take a lot of that money. And that seems the easiest one you could get out of that top three, in my opinion.
Yeah. And let's be honest, she's not Rachel, it takes a really good feeling. I know Swiss did it, but that was later in the year. And, took advantage, she give her props. Swiss Skydiver was a very good horse, but this just seems like a lot, and I get why they're doing it, but I don't know. I'm not quite there. The Secret Oath is like the super filly, right? I think she's good, but I don't think she's like I don't know. To me, I'm with you. If I'm playing against the horse in here that's in those top three horses, that she's probably the one, just because, like you said, she will be overbet because of being the filly in the story.
Yeah. And I don't think she's going to get quite the setup that she needs. To me, when you look at this, it's like, well, early voting is clearly faster. Armagnac and Fenwick, they're the definition of cheap speed. We've heard that about Armagnac forever. It's like, oh, he's going to bother Forbidden Kingdom. He can't get up there. And so now he's up against another one. So they seem kind of cheap to me. I don't think the pace is going to be too fast. And that's another thing for early voting. It's like, well, he's going to be around. He's going to probably turn for home looking like he's got a really good shot to win it.
I really like the idea of keying Epicenter in the 1 and 2 spots, just because I just think he's going to run 1-2 somewhere in there. If he doesn't win, he's probably going to get beat by something great, Yep. Like someone's like, maybe you play on the top spot, you play like Creative Minister and the Simplification, with Epicenter. But to me, I would key him in the first and second spots, just because I do think he's going to show up. But the way he gets beat is by something kind of like we've talked about, right? When he's lost, it's been, Call Me Midnight and Rich Strike. So if he's going to get beat, it's going to be something semi-random, I feel like, where you got to make sure you have it on top.
Yep. I think you're right. It's kind of a backup type of plan there, going both ways, because we've seen it. Epicenter has lost to horses he shouldn't have lost to. And let's be clear, now if early voting gets out loose on the lead and they don't go with him, takes him gate to wire, I could see that. But Epicenter should not lose to these horses.
Magic, let me ask you, because you did the trends, which, if like you mentioned earlier, if you haven't seen that, go to our YouTube page and check out the 5 myths, trends of the Preakness, which I thought was really interesting, because you mentioned on that how new shooters, and not only that, horses that finish second in the Derby don't tend to do very well coming into the Preakness. And kind of when you combine that with the new shooter aspect, and you got some interesting, quote unquote, interesting new shooters, you're an Epicenter. You lead the bandwagon. You're in charge of the fan club. So where are you at on Epicenter with that kind of stacked up against you?
Oh man, I'm nervous as hell after I made that video. I was excited about Epicenter, and then I made the video, and now this horse I've been in love with. I'm like, I don't know. Listen, I saw someone bring it up in the chat earlier too, but when we talked about before, but Epicenter, he was second on paper, but was he really second in the Derby? Really? If you think about it, was it kind of a fluke that Rich Strike won? I'm going to go with that angle a little bit. As far as Epicenter, who he's facing, he's not facing the Derby winner, right? So you have that going as well. It's not Bodemeister, I'll have another that we're seeing here, right? That 2 horses face each other, knock heads first and second in 2 races. That being said, 6-5 on Epicenter, very short. You probably get less than even money on race day. So if you're looking for a long shot, I talked about it earlier, but Skippy Longstocking, the more I think about it, maybe I'm tucking myself into this horse. He is a new shooter. Jared, you mentioned that's one of the angles here. 3 of the last 5 Preakness Stakes went to horses who weren't even in the Kentucky Derby. Rombauer, Swiss Skydiver, Cloud Computing. And a lot of this field, you can kind of say that for, right? Creative Minister, Fenwick, Secret Oath, Early Voting, Armagnac, and Skippy Longstocking all didn't race in it. Skippy Longstocking is exiting a 3rd in the Wood Memorial, and his last few races have been kind of sneaky improvements, or since his last three back. Alvarado got on him in February at Gulfstream, and they tried pressing the pace, and it didn't end up working out. And that was the race that had In Due Time win. American Icon and Ironworks were both Todd Pletcher trainees in that race. That was the top three. This horse was fourth. We saw what In Due Time was able to do kind of moving forward on the Derby trail. After that race, Junior Alvarado stopped trying to push the horse on the front end and had him pull back and go way back. Ends up winning a 1.125 race by almost 4 lengths against optional claimers. They go to the Wood Memorial. There are 2 horses in the Wood Memorial who gain ground on early voting. One of them is Mo Donegal, the winner, who everybody talks about. Skippy Longstocking is the only other horse that gained ground on early voting. He was 5th early in the race, several lengths back, and ends up finishing. He still is 3.5 lengths behind early voting and Mo Donegal at the wire, but a horse that is improving. And if you liked Mo Donegal for his running style, for coming from off the pace, and you think that that's something that'll work in the Preakness, Skippy Longstocking to me is the very poor man's version of that. But you're getting 20-1 when Mo Donegal, you're what, 4-1, 5-1 in this field with as much as people love him?
Yeah, I completely agree. I actually was texting with Halterman, and I think he was enjoying it too much this morning about Skippy Longstocking, because I was like, I think that horse is kind of interesting. Like, not to win, but I think he could get up, and get finished second or third in one of these races and kind of sneak in there, because I do think that Wood was I wouldn't say sneaky good, but like you say, if you kind of like early voting and Mo Donegal, if you like early voting, it's like, well, can't this horse run third in this race? You know what I mean? Like, if that's kind of the logic you're using. Because I just don't know if he's fast enough to get up there, especially if we're not really projecting a super quick hot pace. And of course the Belmont, he's bred to go long, and you would think, especially with Safi being kind of a New York guy, and you could see him running this horse here and running the horse again in 3 weeks in the Belmont.
Son of Exaggerator.
Yeah, which won this race, right? So
did Oxbow.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Exaggerator was the horse the last horse who finished second in the Derby and came back and won the Preakness.
Yep.
So, thankfully, a couple of recent things to point to break Magic's trend. Well, not really a trend, but just stats there. But it doesn't happen very often. Well, we have seen it at least, and we did see it recently. So, and I think the big deal about this is, guys, every year is different, right? Every year is completely different. We have no Derby winner. Even if we had the Derby winner, it's an 80-1 shot. And a lot of times, you're not going to beat the Derby winner if you finish second to him in that race, because he's just better than you. You fast forward to this field, there's just nobody that's done what Epicenter has done so far.
Vicky says she got to run. Vicky, thanks for joining us. We always appreciate you. We'll see you at the next one. And if you are joining us for the first time, we are going to be doing these live shows leading up to the Preakness Stakes, at least through Thursday. Friday is going to be Black-Eyed Susan Stakes Day, so it'll be just something different. But normally it'll be at noon Central right here on the Racing Dudes YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe to it. I got to throw this back up here. Manu, this made me laugh. So the great thing about this race, not one horse whose name you Muppets can butcher. I got Armagnac correct because someone had to tell us how to say that. It was our boy Geist.
That's right.
Hey, speaking of Manu, didn't Ruger look good here today?
Ruger was great.
He was awesome. He was real. She was good, I guess. Ruger is a boy. Rugier is a girl. So
it's much prettier. Yeah.
it's like the like talking like in Spanish, like the masculine and the feminine versions or whatever. Like that's the Ruger is the boy.
Right.
Rugier is the girl. That's the feminine side. All right, let's go wrap it up. This. What do you guys say?
Yep.
Final win picks this early on Monday, the way it sits. Jared.
I guess
go winner and long shot.
Okay. Epicenter is a winner. I just think logically makes too much sense. And long shot, I'll go. Here's the thing. I think CB Longstocking could definitely hit the board, maybe a better chance. But I think as a winner, Creative Minister is maybe that horse. So I'll give that one for my win long shot.
Aaron?
Same. Exact same. Win, Epicenter, long shot, Creative Minister. Look, Epicenter, here's the deal. He's been the most consistent horse in this crop. He's had the most impressive races as a whole, meaning he's done it 2 or 3 times versus maybe one was really, really good, and then the others for these horses weren't. He's the one to beat. These horses will have to step up to beat him. early voting certainly can do it if he can get out there to an easy lead. I think that's going to be the key for that horse. If he doesn't, I think he's in trouble. But Epicenter, he's going to stalk the pace. He's going to eyeball early voting. He's going to get by him, and hopefully this time, nobody from the back comes up and nails him.
I'm hoping that the tight turns at Pimlico keep Secret Oath in her big move from rallying off the far turn there. By the way, myth number 1, the tight turns thing. Go watch that, if just for myth number 1, so you can stop with this tight turn bullshit. I hate it, but it's a lot of fun.
Let's play a game for everyone listening to this and everyone listening after the fact when you watch this. From here until they run the race, every time you hear tight turns, you have to stop what you're doing and take a shot. Like that's what you have to do. And just good luck, because you're going to hear tight turns between now and then at least 50 times every year.
Yep.
Anyways, go ahead. Go back to your.
I'm going to go with Epicenter, and of course Skippy Longstocking. I've been talking about him as a good long shot there, but watch out for Secret Oath. She does scare me a little bit. I think if I was going to play multi-race, I think Epicenter and Secret Oath is where I go. You don't want to see that Kentucky Oaks move coming again and just scare the shit out of you. We are so excited you guys were joining us. Thanks so much. Remember, we'll be back at noon Central tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week. Paulie, don't worry. We're going to step up our game from here on out. Just for you, buddy, we're going to step up our game. Please just join us at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central. Hopefully Mike Somich will be joining us, but we'll be talking more about the Preakness. But until then, for Jared Welch, Aaron Halterman, I'm Magic. We'll see you over at racenews.com. And don't forget, Inside Track to the Preakness Stakes wagering guide is going to be available soon. If you're a premium member, it's going to be in your dashboard shortly.
Hey, pre-sale started.
Pre-sale started.
And
see, I almost forgot about it. I got to say, don't forget about it. But
real quick, Paulie's looking for grade 1 winners in this field, he says. Okay.
Secret Oath.
That's it.
There you go.
That's the only grade 1 winner, and it came against Phillies. There isn't any world-class runners in this race.
Other than Epicenter, which you will see on Saturday.
Hopefully.
But until tomorrow, for Jared, Aaron, I'm Magic. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.